Alright guys, we're going to go through the answers to your classwork today. So go through and check what you got. If you got questions, make sure you let me know. Alright, so I'm going to carry over my like denominator. And if I take a look, I can see that 5x, x, and 3x, those are all like terms. So I got 5x plus 1x, which is 6, and now I got 9x. Can't factor anything, so that would be my final answer. All right, number 2. Carry over my common denominator. I'm going to go through and change all of my signs since I have an addition problem. Okay, or subtraction problem, sorry. So I got 11x minus 1x, which would be 10, minus 7, which would be 3x. Now I can reduce the 3 and the 6. So if I divide it by 3, so my final answer would be x over 2 for number 2. All right, number 3. Okay, change that subtraction to addition and change the sign. So I have 8 plus 3 minus 2. So I got 8 plus 3 is 11, minus 2 is 9. All right, number 4. Got a lot going on here, so I'm going to draw one big, large fraction. I'm going to change, so here's my subtraction problem. So I'm going to change the subtraction to addition. I'm going to change this sign, and then I'm going to change this sign. I don't do anything with this last fraction at the end because it's a plus sign. So I'm going to leave it as is. So really, at the top, I have 7x plus y minus 2x minus 3y. Then I have plus x minus y. Okay, so then you can go ahead and look for your like terms. So I have a 7x, oops, I got 7x minus 2x plus x. Then I got y minus 3 minus 1. So if I do my x's, I have 7 minus 2. Then I have minus plus 1, sorry. So that leaves me with 6 x's. Now if I look at my y's, I have a 1 minus 3 minus 1, so that gets me negative 3 all over 4. Now I can factor this. I can go one step further, and if I factor that, I can take out a 3, so that leaves me with 2x minus 1 over 4. And that looks like that would be my final answer for number 4. All right, number 5. So I got 2b minus 1. If I look at the top of my fraction, I can combine 1a plus 2a, gets me 3a. Looks like I can't factor anything. That's my final answer. Number 6, nice and easy. Bring over my common denominator. Add the top. Okay. Now I can reduce this. They're both the same thing, which is 1 over 1, which is the same thing as 1. All right, number 7. So my common denominator. Now the top. So you can change this to, so I have a minus b on the top. Now that denominator I can factor. So I still have a minus b on the top, and I have a plus b and a minus b. Difference in two squares for this one. So I can cancel that top with that bottom. So I am left with 1 over a plus b. All right, number 8. So I'm going to change my subtraction to addition, change this sign, and change this sign. So I really have 4b minus b minus 6. So that means on the top I have 3b minus 6 over 5b minus 10. I know I can factor these. So if I factor out a 3, I'm left with b minus 2. If I factor out a 5, I'm left with b minus 2. And I can cancel that top and bottom. So my final answer would be 3/5. All right, number 9. Okay, now the top is an addition, so I'm going to combine my like terms. So 5x, and 9 plus 16 would get me 25. I'm going to factor. So I can take out a 5, which leaves me with x plus 5. Difference of two squares down here. So now I can cancel that top with that bottom. So my final answer would be 5 over x minus 5. All right, number 10. So I got y squared plus 3y. I'm going to go through and change this, this, and this. So I have 2y squared minus y squared minus 9 at the top. So which is really, so 2 minus 1 was just really y squared minus 9 over y squared plus 3y. And I can definitely factor this. So this is my difference of two squares. And down here, I can factor out a y, which leaves me with y plus 3. And now I can cancel that top with that bottom. So my final answer is y minus 3 over y. Okay. Again, I have subtraction. So go through, change your signs. So I got x plus 3 minus x plus 4. So my x's actually cancel. So x minus x cancels. 3 plus 4 gets me 7. And that would be my final answer. Number 12. Looks pretty complicated. So carry over, keep your denominator. All right, so make sure we are combining our like terms. So I have an x squared plus 5x. Then I have 1 plus 3, which would get me 4. Definitely looks like I can factor this trinomial on the top. And this is my difference of two squares down here. So I need a number that multiplies to 4, but has to add to 5. Well, that would be 4 and 1. So it looks like this top cancels with that bottom. So my final answer would be x plus 1 over x minus 4. So there's the first page. Not too bad. All right, so let's run through these ones on the back. Okay, so I'm going to change my subtraction to addition. So I have 5a minus 5b. So factor out that 5, which gets you a minus b. Difference of two squares down here. So this top and that bottom. There's my final answer. All right, so we got another subtraction problem. So I know I have to go through and change my signs. So I have x squared minus 9 at the bottom. Now the top. 7x minus 3 minus x minus 15. So 7x minus 1x would get me 6x. And a negative 3 minus 15 just makes you take the sign in front. So that's how I would get a negative 18 over x squared minus 9. Now I know I can factor this. So if I take out a 6, I'm left with x plus 3. And that bottom is a difference of two squares. So this cancels with that. And here's your final answer. So number 15, addition. Okay. Combine your like terms on the top. So 3x plus 2x would get me 5x. And 8 plus a positive 7, well, that gets me 15. And this is definitely a factoring. And again, difference of two squares. So this cancels with that. All right, subtraction. Okay. So my bottom will be y squared minus 2y. Now on the top, it looks like I don't have any like terms. So I'm gonna write this in standard form. So I have y squared. I'm gonna bring the minus 5y here plus 6 because now it looks like a regular trinomial. So I wrote my top in standard form. Because if you kept it as y squared plus 6 minus 5y, really hard to factor that. Okay, so now when I look at it, I know I should be able to factor this. So you remember that multiplies to a positive 6, adds to a negative 5. So that would be negative 3 and negative 2. And then I can factor the bottom, factor out a y, which leaves me with y minus 2. Top and bottoms cancel. So I have y minus 3 over y. So 16 is just a little tricky there with that part. Same thing, I got a subtraction problem. So go through, change your signs. Oops. So I have x squared. So 3x, so I have plus 3x. I'm just gonna rewrite this so we can see that these actually cancel. So I'm left with x squared plus 1 over x plus 1. Now be careful. You cannot factor this because of the plus sign. Okay, that is not a difference of two squares. So that's unfactorable. So that's actually your final answer. Okay, so x squared plus 1 is not a difference of two squares. All right, number 18, I got another subtraction. So change your subtraction to addition and change that sign. Kind of looks like one we had earlier. So if I keep the 4 minus y, now again, I'm going to write this in standard form. So I have y squared minus 8y plus 16. So I can factor this top, and 4 minus y is actually going to stay the same. I need a number that multiplies to 16 but adds to a negative 8. So I have negative 4 for both of them. Now, if anyone remembers, because of the way my 4's and my y's are written, so I have opposites. So if I look at this one here and this here, they're opposites. So that is what's called your -1 rule. Hopefully you remember that. So this actually multiplies to a -1, reduces to a -1, sorry. So my final answer for this one is negative y minus 4. You got that -1 in the front. Okay. Or if you wrote -1 times y minus 4, that would be okay as well. So 16 is also a tricky one, or 18, sorry. All right, last two. So we can change subtraction to addition and change the sign of that. So that leaves me with m minus 2 on the top. Keep my denominator. So I'm going to try to factor that bottom. Okay. So I would have to have a -2 and a +1. So these cancel. So I'm left with 1 over m plus 1 as my final answer. All right, number 20. Now, we talked about, when we were working with our polynomials, we talked about the word subtract from. I don't know if you remember, but that means that you need to switch your order. So I'm actually going to write the 12w minus 15 first, minus the 9w minus 6. Now, since it's a subtraction problem, I'm going to again go through and change it to addition and then change my signs. So really, I have 12w minus 15 minus 9w plus 6 on the top, all over my 12w. So if I combine my like terms, 12w minus 9w would be 3. And negative 15 plus 6 would give me a positive 9. Now I know I can factor that top. So if I take out a 3, I'm left with w plus 3. And then the 3 and the 12, because there's no plus sign in between the 3 and the parentheses, I can reduce the 3 and the 12 by 3. So my final answer would be w plus 3 over 4w. Another tricky one. All right, guys, so there's the answers to the back of your classwork. Okay, if you have, now obviously the back was a little bit more challenging than the front. If you have questions, please log back onto the Google Meet and let me know. Have a good day, guys.